Hi all, I am the CRM Ninja and bringing another episode of the Oops Factor. Tonight I'm joined by Eric. I'm sorry, I've got no idea how to pronounce your surname.
It's Eric Sauvé, not Suave. So Eric Sauvé.
Sauvé, okay,
Yes.
who's also known as Z Power Diver, which I know why you've got it, but in my mind, whenever I see that, I think of like a Mexican guy or see you wearing a Mexican hat. So that's just me. So thank you. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you on here.
Good to be with you, AY. Yes.
Wonderful. And I have to obviously congratulate you on your recent MVP announcement. You know, it's well deserved. There's not that many people out there who are talking about AI and stuff, and you've got some really great stuff out there, and it's really, really good. So thank you for sharing the knowledge around it with us.
Good stuff. Yeah, I've really focused on the AI builder part, and that's been a key, I think, in the nomination list.
Yes, and I mean, I got to play around a bit with it when you were building it and stuff, and it's some really good stuff. I'm thinking about seeing how I could incorporate it into Omnichannel at some point. So before we get into whatever you want to talk about on the Oops Factor, I know you have many, many interests and hobbies. You go diving, you have a motorbike, you go climbing. Jason,
Yes.
watch out. Need to get the two of you guys together. And you keep cats. A lot of cats by the pictures I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you sort of combine any of these together? I mean, do you take the cats out with you climbing, or do they sit on the motorbike? Or I don't know. You seem really a cat person, so I'm assuming you're involving them somehow.
Yeah, actually, my wife has a cattery, so we're having like breeding of the Sphinx, like the naked type of cats, no hair cats.
Egyptian.
Actually, they've got the Sphinx name, but they're not Egyptian at all. There's two kinds of Sphinx cats, one coming from Canada, and I think one from somewhere around Russia.
Okay.
It's actually a genetic anomaly that started that. So it's not at all related to Egyptian at all. So it's just a name.
I've learned something new tonight. Thank you. So you have lots of cats around. So do you go on your hobbies to escape the cats then, or
maybe the wife? No, I didn't say that.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
No, it's fine. No, but no, they're actually very lovely and very cuddling. I remember when we got the first cat, a friend of mine said, "You know what? When you get a Sphinx cat, you will not get only one. You'll definitely have at least two, if not three." And we ended up getting three. And then my wife moved into wanting to have a cattery, like breeding those cats. So she got a official female for that.
And an official female.
Yeah, because they're all like registered, so you have to go with the right everything.
Right.
So you got a female and also a official reproductive male. So so we have on a regular basis we have to put them together and have them do their stuff. And then
I was just thinking that could be a really cool job title. I am the official male or the official female.
That's good. So right now we actually have 10 cats in the house, 5 adults and 5 kittens. But when we get the kittens, we'll be sending them away in about 2 months. So it normally take about 3 months with the mother. By the time that they get fed and they start eating and everything, and they get all the signs and everything.
Okay.
And they move on. So probably big part in the house. Yes.
Good. Glad to hear. So, going from cats to Oops Factor. I mean, I've got no idea if it involves cats or not, but you're about to enlighten me.
Oh no, they don't involve the cats. They actually involve one of my kids. I have 3 kids, and
3 kids.
Yes, 3 kids, and my baby son He's like 20, turning 21 this year.
I have to ask this. Just I've got a couple of kids of my own and stuff. But you said with cats, you know, you started with 3 cats. Did you start with three
Yeah.
kids?
No, we started with one and then the second, but yeah, we had,
Okay.
and we have now actually another level, which is grandson. I have a grandson, and it's another one on its way, which is
Congratulations.
by the time you put this online, maybe he's going to be there or not. But yeah, we will do very soon.
Good. No, I'm sure you'll
So
be great, well, wonderful. Well, not great grandparents in the sense of being a great grandparent, but being great at being grandparents.
yeah, let's wait for the great grandparents. Indeed, we're trying to be very involved and very very involved in it.
Family is very important. Okay, so
Oh yeah,
say your baby son, who's not so much of a baby anymore. Go on.
yeah. So when he was much younger, I'd say probably around 5, more or less. I went out to the grocery with him only. My wife allowed me to go out with my son alone. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, so I went out to the grocery, and at that time, at the entrance of the grocery store, there was this little area for kids to play, and they had this I think it was a Nintendo back then, little
Okay.
Nintendo game with a TV. And my son, when I walked into the store, said, "Hey, I want to go and play." Yeah, sure thing. Like, it's gonna be easier for me to do the groceries and do stuff, and I'll pick you when I go out. So I did the groceries.
And also Canada is generally seen as being quite safe, much more safer than
Yes,
other parts of the world.
yes, for that, yes, indeed. And so I do the groceries, and then go back home. I pull the car in the garage, and my wife, she opens up the door, and she's looking at me and says, "Where's Simon?" Because he's named Simon. Simon, where's Simon? And I say, "Well, he's with you." And she says, "No, you're making fun of me." I say, "No, he's with you." She says, "No, you're making fun of me. Where is he?" And then it's like, oops. And I got the actual oops there. And I just like went boom back to the grocery store, and he's there just playing. Like he didn't have any notion of me not being there, no notion of just being left alone there, and having his parents leaving there a while. And hey, Simon, let's go back home.
He's
So
wondering why you're flustered and, face red and come running in and stuff. He's like, Dad, I'm cool, I'm playing.
yeah, it took quite a while before I was allowed to go back alone with him. I have to tell you, I paid it plenty for quite a while. So
Okay.
one of the big lessons, because yeah, there's the oops, and then there's the actual lesson out of there.
Yes.
And one of the big lessons that I've learned in there is when you don't control the environment, like um, put all the safety barriers around to make sure that you're safe, the environment is safe. So anytime I go into a project or any situation where I work, if I don't have any control on the environment, I make sure that all the safety barriers, the warnings, everything that makes sure that it's a safe project are in place. That's one of the things that it made me learn. It's like, don't rely on just your memory. Just don't rely on just you remembering everything. Put all the safeguards and notifications in place. That's
I
what came out.
I fully understand where you're coming from. I mean, my own major oops factor, which I started this series with, was about bringing down the production server because they hadn't told me the SQL farm was the same one the
I
test one.
remember.
So since then, I document everything, no matter how small or insignificant it may be. At least I can refer
Yeah.
to it. Yes.
Yeah, and like that, when you add that episode, and that's why I kind of you initially my oops factor was more pure business related, and I told you, like, let me try to find something more of a half the chart type
Yeah.
that relates to the business. And that's how I came about that one, because when you talked about when you did that series, I just related to something that happened last summer on a project on a Friday when we push out a new item in QA, not even in production, but in
Okay.
in the testing, like UAT environment, sorry.
Yeah. Quality
And,
assurance.
Yeah, quality assurance. So I was responsible for, submitting that over to the customer project and the people doing the actual implementation. And, it's Friday afternoon, about 3 o'clock. I'm happy, I'm about that time of pouring out a glass of wine. I'm at home, I'm working remotely. About that time of pouring down a glass of wine or something, actually scotch. And I get that call, like, Eric, the CRM is down. What? And then getting all those emails and everything is like, okay, what's happening there? And then we start looking, and what happened is, like, there was one line in the whole procedure. There was one line that was referring to the production side. Like, it's all through DevOps, and they like the guy was just pressing like next type of thing, like just next action. But there was one place where you had to do it manually, and it was still pointing out to the production side, to the production environment. So he just pushed out the new solution over on the production. So at the end, it didn't break much. It just took the site down for the time that the actual publish happened.
Right.
And there were no breaking into what we put in line because we had done good testing. That's the good part.
Testing is very important. I mean, we're all very aware of this.
Yeah. And it just put the spotlight on one thing that, again, when you don't control everything, in this case was we had put all quality assurance or code review, and even in all the code and everything we were doing, we were doing reviews before proceeding to the next step.
Right.
But that procedure of, you submit that procedure document in through their system of saying, well, take this and implement it. There was no review by peers. There was no peer review. It. And even though, I was the leading architect in that project, I like anybody else, I make mistakes sometimes.
We're all human. We're all human.
Yeah. So in this case, right after that, I said, okay, now we have to add peer review for that procedure. Before we submit it, we get other people to view it. Don't rely on just one person to submit it, because you don't know who the next person is going to be doing the actual procedure, and just not interpreting. Like, he may not have the knowledge to interpret what's there, and he just says, oh, okay, that's fine. It goes into production. Even though everything else says UAT or QA, well, it says production, no problem. I'm not there to make judgment. I just press next.
You just press next, you follow it. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. Peer review is important. And on the couple of times I've had to make changes to a live production system, I've always insisted on having two people with me, one on either over each shoulder, one being normally a developer and one being like a systems administrator or senior project manager. And they're all scrutinizing my every move, and I'm checking with them everything that I'm doing, every keystroke, every mouse click, all of it, just to make sure, because you need to be careful. So that's sort of very in situ peer review, but peer review is obviously really important.
Yeah, and maybe not do that on Friday.
Yes, Friday. Well, we know what Fridays can be like, and I think that's enough said at the moment. But Eric, thank you so much for coming on the Oops Factor. Really appreciate it. Now, question for you, if I may, which I've started asking people, which is, if you could have anybody appear on it to share their Oops Factor story, anybody at all, who would you want to appear on?
Good question. Maybe I would like to see my good friend Igor Shvets, and I'll send you the details. He's like, I call him my comrade. Like, he's this big, bold Russian type of guy, but he's like a lovely human, and he's got a lot of experience in large implementation, governmental, and things like that. And I think he probably has good stories there.
Wonderful. Well, if you could drop a line to the both of us doing an introduction, that would be great.
Will do. Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Ewart, for all the good work you do, by the way.
You're welcome, and thank you for the amazing stuff you're putting out there. I mean, as I said at the beginning, MVP is a very well deserved for it.
Thank you.
So thank you once again so much for coming on. Viewers, we hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you would like to come on, please hit the link below, fill in your details, and I'll drop you an invitation to come on. Yeah, I know I should really start doing that. Yeah, below 5. Okay, right. Eric's much more skilled at videos than I am. I'm very new to this.
Wow.
Also, feel free to check out the rest of the playlist, which I think is coming up here on the screen, and subscribe to the channel, which is coming up around there. And
don't forget the bell, so you get notified.
Oh yeah, and the bell to notify Ray. Yeah, see, he knows this stuff. So, yeah, have a great day, everyone.